So I haven't had time with this bot stuff. Oh, there's Louis. This bot stuff that Sartaj has been doing, but I've had traders tell me it's going to be pretty cool. I guess he's got bots that are going to give us all kinds of alerts here right away. A few people have signed on there. And next week should be much busier. Our markets will get back to normal. So oil's coming off hard here right now. Hit the top of its intraday resistance. GLBS is doing what GLBS does. DGLY doesn't look great. I thought we'd get some momos here this morning. Pre-market was looking pretty fun. Two different markets though, pre-market and open. Bama broker, he's funny with his calls with oil. He should stick to gold. He was calling for 39. You can check his feed. He was calling for $39 oil right now last November. Well, it's taken a while there, man, and it wasn't right now. And like consistently right now. Oh, that's not what happened. His gold calls are really good though. But oil, you should stay away from oil. GLBS, still having challenges. DGLY might get going here. It's under VWAP though, so caution. I'll tell you this much, this gold algo is going to blow Bama's mind. That I do know. It's testing higher than Epic now. And for something to test higher than Epic is more than Epic. It's a good word, more than Epic. Wow, it's Rosie. Can't change her name. I thought for sure we'd see something decent here. Well, what's gold doing? So oil came off a bit, not much though. It's way high in its upward channel. If it confirms in that channel, like it's far from a problem, but it's not far from support below. Very interesting support area. The dollar, this algo line right here, this white dotted line here, the dollar needs up over that to get more, but we'll see. We'll see what it does here. We knew where support would be. It's just a matter of what it does after that. Can't tell you the future on it. I can only tell you where the important junctures are. Huh. Yeah, I'm actually surprised because pre-market was pretty active. But I guess it's the end of the holiday week. You never know. Might get going here yet. Once everybody settles in. Or maybe everybody goes away and comes back Monday. We'll see. Somebody was getting into Tesla this morning. I seen there. It's kind of interesting. Matt and I were talking about shorting it a few months ago, and then we kind of pulled back on it. I think that was about 3 months ago. Such an interesting stock. Elon, interesting dude. The gold algo will be online absolutely before Sunday open, Sean. It's yeah, I don't know how to apologize enough, but I went through the same thing with Epic. Like I wouldn't release it, kept doing the math, and I'm, looking back, and that's why I got some room with Sartaj and a few others. Like looking back, it was smart not to, because it's kind of I mean, you could run the math forever, of course, but there were some important additions last night. So anyway, we just got to package it up. It's all done now. It's just packaging it for view. So we'll have it ready on the weekend. Next 48 hours, the most. If I had to guess, around 11 o'clock Saturday night, Eastern. But the bottom line with the model is that this area here, so this blue line right here, like that's been on our charting for 8 months, and that blue line. But anyway, the point is that if gold doesn't regain that blue line, wow, if it regains the gray line here, that's positive. But if it doesn't regain this blue line, its quadrant areas in here, it's just a matter of knowing how to trade through it. So that's what the algorithm will show. And then its next dump is in here, and of course the algorithm will show what's in there. And then its next dump down here, 1116. So these are like important quad walls, like on Epic's charting. It's just, what happens in between there and how do you trade in between it. You gotta have that information. And then the next one down is 1052. So those are the important junctures. Yeah, bottom line is if it doesn't regain the one above, it will see 1177.56. So this is looking a lot like pre-election and Christmas time and stuff. GLBS is holding up here. DGLY is just under VWAP. But yeah, I remember when we first released Epic, I had so many people mad at me because I kept on, like it was weeks and weeks and weeks, and we go back, but we were discovering how the math worked. And then when we started to put stuff out, people would come to us and tell us different things, other developers and stuff that would share information. But anyway, the other 28 that we're working on, I'm not going to even say a word. I'm not going to, other than the fact that we're working on them, but we won't even say a word. Like, we won't be like, oh, this one's coming or that one's coming. If they come out, they'll just be finished. Telling people what you're going to do is a really bad idea, because you spend so much time just telling people, what you're doing. And they ask questions and stuff, and it just burns your time. It's just not an efficient way to do things. CERC has got a little bit of volume in here. 2 million traded on the day. This could be your mover for the morning. setting up here. DGLY still crapping it. GLBS crapping it. Well, they're not crapping it, they're just not doing well. CERC does have a relative intraday inflection of volume here that could set up. AVGR, yeah. Anyway, let's look at it. Some of this stuff that comes up on the scans I don't bring up because it's like, I know I wouldn't trade it, but you have to be really, really careful with this stuff. Really careful. Because for every one of these wins that you see, the guru scream out about, you know, if you go back in their feeds and look close, right? Look at the ones that didn't go. But this is interesting, over 50% and over $1. And, you know, with the right follow through. 2 million shares traded on 66 cents, so 1.2 million has flowed through there this morning. You know, keep the perspective on that. That's not a lot of money. That's monkey change in the markets. CERC 107, same thing. Keep perspective on it. It has some relative volume here that set off the scan. DGLY is under VWAP and hasn't regained. GLBS is now crapping the bed. Gold is in its cellar that it needs to get out of. And the dollar is holding up here. The dollar over that algo line gets serious. Why? Because it's already tested support. It's already got over it, failed it. But see that, and I know it's just lines on the chart, but it all represents math. You see that green line there? That green line, after oil got up, over, fell down here, and is on its back test, it should have hit that green line. If it doesn't hit that green line, it's very extremely bullish sign. So in other words, it's getting bought up sooner than it should have. So there's a high probability it'll get up over this algo line. If it gets up over the algo line a second time, so that's how it works in the back test, you can look to this purple line here. And then it would sit inside of here until that time cycle kicks it up or kicks it down. If it kicks it up, it's got a lot of room. It's up in here. So those are your decisions on the dollar. That's a lot of field in there. That would do a lot of damage to a lot of gold bugs, for example. Potentially, I mean, the dollar is not a direct correlation, but it does have effect. I mean, you can see it here. It's Bank of Japan, of course, has some effect there. GLBS still crapping the bed. DGLY having issues too. CERC holding up on that relative volume spike. And AVGR holding up at 43%. Got a pop here and open. So this AVGR is basically a bottom play with a potential gap fill, so it could get, you know, it could get big. So here, I'll just zoom out for you. I don't like these, but you know, I have to. People ask me about them, so I got to be fair. Where was I going here? There it is. so it could get some serious mojo up into the $1.50 range. But, remember the chart, right, when you trade. It's a tough chart. But I can say there's a gap fill there, and it's just over a double, almost a triple if it gets going. So that part does interest me for sure. CERC hasn't done much with that volume. DGLY, quite often those volume spikes, and I don't know what's going on here, but quite often that's a promoter with, with their network. Or quite simply could be the 200 on the 5. Or many other reasons. DGLY off, GLBS off. Gold's kind of holding its own here. And the dollar. That's too bad. Pre-market looked like it was revving up. But it is the Friday on the long weekend, or long holiday. Yeah, it's macro day. Mad Ass is talking about ZN. The last time I traded this one, man, it was pretty decent. I like the way it trades smooth. Let's see what it looks like this morning. Not much else on the scans though. There's that in. Let's take a look at where your resistance is. It's pretty cool, eh? It's quite a chart. And all because they drilled one positive well, one positive test, if I remember right. Squeezed is what that is. So there's your gap fill. It's finished. From 2011. That's funny. Get me that promoter. Good job, guys. 764,000 shares. That's funny. Perfect. So it's going to be, it's either going to get right out of control to the upside or start its deflation process. On the day, what do I say? It's just parabolic. Yeah, that's a halt. ZN. ZN halt. It could get parabolic because it's coming out of that bowl, right? So, well, I mean, I call it parabolic right now, but I guess my point is it could get just wild. The last time I traded wild ones, I haven't traded them for a while. LEU in late 2015, I think it was. I was on the beach then, and I had one of my biggest days ever. And Shirkelly's was right around the same time. Shirkelly's, I think, was 2 or 3 months before that, and that was one of my biggest days too. Anyway, this is kind of setting up the same way. But, you know, it's got the potential of that. So apparently this bot that Sartaj is bringing into the room from wherever he found it is going to give us all of our halts and stuff. I don't know much about it though, so I shouldn't say anything. He's got all kinds of them he's bringing in for different things. Look at that. Wow. Amazing. Just amazing. Geez, this looked like a decent play in pre-market. Might get going yet. A lot of these, like for the last few months, man, they just, pre-market, it's great, then they just fizzle at open. They lose their VWAP and AVGR is still holding up. It's over 50%. It's interesting over a buck, even more interesting. The problem is that, I think if I remember right, it's resistance. Yeah, here it is here. So at $1.10 on the NA. $1.49 is the fill. And not one alarm has gone off this morning. So when I traded those incredible squeezes with LEU and Shirkelly's, I can't remember if it was eBio or whatever it was called, but the way that I did it anyway, if that ever does happen and you guys see something crazy like those, the way that I played safe was, you know, very, very small entries all the way up. And then I would peel my initial, I mean, it's common sense, right? Peeled out my initial investment and let everything ride. And then slowly took profits as it went up. It's pretty crazy stuff. This doesn't look like it's going to do it though. But its chart is setting up in a way that anything's possible with that kind of chart. So if you get out on the daily, it kind of puts it into perspective. AVGR. Oil's coming off here. Now it's getting dangerously close to serious support. That would really make the day interesting if it lost that support. That's for sure. Personal bias says it won't. You never know. It has been months since market opens that had any follow through momentum stocks. I mean, sure there are some, and if you trade tight, you know, you can do it, but it's been many months. There was a shift there about 6 months ago, 7 months ago. But that's the markets. So there's AMD's most recent trend. Huh. It's not the easiest stock to trade lately. Hey, Nick. There's been some momos here this morning, Nick, but not much. It's pretty disappointing, actually. Well, kind of expected though, Friday. But parts of the market have got some serious momentum. It's just like in terms of serious in the way that they're not your morning Momo stocks, but you know, if you look at the board here, there's actually some momentum in the market. AAOI is back. There's ARNA. What's ZNN make here? GVR, a buy, CERC. DGLY. I was kind of expecting a pop here. GLBS. Yeah. Gold's in the cellar. So at this point, ZN AVGR, DGLY have my interest still, but just barely. AMD definitely has my interest from a position of just possible momentum on the intraday. Might get hold here any second. Stock R size turning up. MACD is about to curl out. Squeeze momentum just went bright green. So, I mean, it's already got some momentum, but it could get some fairly serious momentum here. ARNA, ARNA, I want to take a look at this guy here quick. So here's continued. So we charted this, right? The setup. It's a decent breakout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. Nothing wrong with that. AAOI, of course, have traded, and it's on our swing platform. NK, we've charted. It's through its daily. So, you know, some of these are pretty interesting structurally. Like, this is our setup in NK where it got through the 200. And then the idea is, while it goes into the bowl here, to wait for it to test its MAs, right? And get a bounce, and then hit it on the bounce. Well, it's testing right now. So that's a good example of a test on the bowl breakout. So what else did we say? AOI. And ARNA. That was the other one. So it's nice to see the ones that we've been working on in here in the list. DCLI is back in OVN. Wow, well. Yeah, India, that's quite the story there. I'm trying to understand it all. Oil is really close to some serious problems. Interesting time in the market. ARNA. Yeah, so this was one we charted. It's on our list. AAOI, one we charted on our list. NK, one we charted on our list. ZN, probably come back to it here later. AVGR, I'll probably come back to later. DGLY. Considering the news, I was expecting a bounce. And what else is going on out there? DGLY, AVEO. OVN. Traded that a number of times. It's been good to me every time. Well, not the best open. Shoot. Well, there's not much there, guys, so I'm gonna take my break, come back at noon. If something hot gets going here, I'll jump back in, but there just isn't anything set. Now, I am gonna work on my replies to DMs and stuff like that between now and lunch. I'm way behind after being in the lab all night, so I didn't respond to anybody. So I'll get working on that. Yes, race it would be nice. Actually, I'm going to do midday today, and then probably take an early afternoon for sure, and then get all the algos published tomorrow. But I'm going to do midday today. There's some stuff I definitely want to look at for setup for next week. So I'll see you guys at noon.